Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings. We meet again. It's 10 past midnight here in Spain. Don't know what time it is in your part of the world. And today I would like to talk about how we feel about individual members of the royal family. Now, I wanted to talk about this because a couple of days ago I posted a link to what I believe a Sussex puff piece, which is really quite nasty actually and targets Sarah Ferguson, Sarah, Duchess of York. I'll put a link in the description. You can tell me what you think. It came across to me as, oh, Sarah can go to Sandringham, but Harry and Meghan can't. That's exactly how it came across. And I just thought it was horrible. Sarah Ferguson, as everybody knows, is recovering from cancer, from pretty heavy-duty surgery. She's been extremely brave. She's told everybody about it, and I'm sure almost everybody wishes her well. I think she's lovely. Now, this is the part I'm going to come to, because I see Sugars pumping this. Sugars saying, don't pick on Sarah, or Sugars saying, why is Sarah allowed there, why is Andrew, and trying to drag this lady into it, who's, as I say, got some challenging health issues, and I pray she's on her great road to recovery and that she's going to be strong and it's not going to come back. And also anyone else, not only who's suffering with cancer, any illness. Because when you start stooping into that territory, that's really low and very bad. Well, what else do we expect from Sugars? A lot, not all of them, but a lot of them are pretty disgusting. But last year I did a couple of videos about Sarah. I have a lot of fondness and affection for Sarah. Personally, I never really gave a toss about the toe-sucking thing. I don't care. The fake shake, hidden recorders, trading off royal titles, yeah, that one was bad. That one was bad. But we all make mistakes, and the day that I think I'm perfect, that's the day you'll find me sitting in judgment on everybody. Now, the royal family are a complicated thing, a relationship between each and every one of us. This is what Sugars don't understand. It's an evolving relationship between each person and the royal family. And we don't have to have met any members of the royal family. That's a family that sort of, in a strange way, represents us. Now, Sarah Ferguson was not allowed to do the Christmas walk for years. She's been in disgrace for years. Charles is the head of the Church of England, the defender of faiths, and he clearly feels the same as me. I'm not perfect. Who am I to judge? And so I see this lovely, open, welcoming family. And I have to say, Charles wasn't always my favourite. I was always Princess Diana, diehard fan. Shoot me. Now, I took a lot of heat last year for doing a couple of videos defending Sarah and saying I like her. I've taken heat for defending Diana, which is kind of interesting because I defend the right of people who I disagree with. And yet when it comes to my free speech and opinions, oh, that's not allowed. I've had a couple of people who are diehard Charles fans saying, don't you dare ever even mention Diana's name. I mean, literally only a couple of people. Well, that's not very fair when I defend their right to support their member of the royal family. Why so tribalistic? Is it that Meghan has made everybody, like, you can only love and adore and support? And I've actually had people say I don't worship Charles enough, you know, in the same manner as Sugars for Meghan. I've even been told recently, because we do the lives over Christmas and we were discussing Princess Diana's death, I've heard the classic, let the poor lady rest in peace. No. Princess Diana was a member of the British royal family. She is a part of British history. I will not have her swept under the carpet and forgotten and all this, let the poor lady rest in peace. Why don't we let Queen Mary rest in peace? Why don't we let the late Queen Elizabeth, rest in peace. Why don't we let Henry VIII rest in peace? No, 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 that's not how it works. And as I said before, I will defend anybody's right to the death for their free speech, not defaming, bullying and harassing like the Sugars do. I do not defend that. But I defend everybody's right. That's the whole point of having open discourse and being allowed to talk amongst each other, and it's okay to disagree. But nobody should go around the internet saying, you are not allowed to talk about this. That's what the Sugars do. I do like to talk about Diana. I do like to examine certain things that happened in history that may make people feel a bit uncomfortable what was going on there. We did a whole examination of a lot of things, like 2 of the last witnesses that saw Diana alive never gave statements and were not heard by the inquest, according to the book that I was examining the other night, along with a few other horrifying facts. In fact, there's about 10,000 horrifying facts in that book. And I'd like to examine it. What made that guy put that in that book? In the same way that I like to be supportive of Sarah Ferguson. She stood by her ex-husband. They've remained friends. They have 2 lovely daughters who've got lovely husbands who now have lovely children. They're human beings. And there may even come a day that I will defend Meghan. That day is not today, tomorrow, or probably even next year. But maybe when I'm in my 70s, Meghan will change and evolve and do something else. I seriously doubt it, guys. I seriously doubt it. But you never know. Camilla and Charles have come under a lot of criticism because of Diana. And a lot of people say to me, oh, Diana was no saint. I never fucking said she was. In fact, the reason I loved her was because of her imperfections. And as Lady C says, often, it's okay to disagree. So I'm not going to be dictated to or having my free speech stolen because I love Princess Diana. But because of a lot of people who love Charles and Camilla, those people, a lot of you guys, have made me see them in a different way because you've been kind about how you go about it. You've been polite, you've been eloquent, and you've helped me look at a situation in a different way. It's a family structure. It's a fact of life. You know, I mean, if the royal family hadn't had any divorces, that wouldn't really represent us as a society, would it? But they have had divorces. They do have stepchildren. They're representative much more of us than you would realise. And Charles, I love his lead in the way he's demonstrating kindness and forgiveness. I don't see any kindness or forgiveness with Meghan. Certainly not with that puff piece, picking on a lady, trying to drag her into it, seeing her as an easy target. That's how I see it. I'm not suggesting it's Meghan herself. Well, I don't know. But it's someone who clearly supports Meghan, thinks it's okay to have a go at Sarah, who's had cancer, and be like, oh, so she's allowed in, but Meghan isn't. Well, Meghan and Harry have had a gazillion invitations to Balmoral and Sandringham over the last 4 years, and they've knocked them all back. Just like they knocked back the opportunity to see Her late Majesty the week before she died, and then oopsie doodle, when it was too late, then it's everybody else's fault. Harry and Meghan also have never said sorry. Nothing is their fault. Sarah's done nothing but say sorry for about 30 years. So, I mean, at what point, what kind of perfect human beings out there must think that they're better and they've never sinned and they've never done anything wrong? I'm certainly not one of them. So, I mean, we all have our favourites of the royal family, and mine change from time to time. I will always love Princess Diana. Always, always, because I remember her and that's how it was. But I love her for her faults, as I do the other members of the royal family. And Princess Anne, she was another one that I wasn't keen on, and I absolutely adore her now. The more I hear her speak, the more I love her. The more I see her, the more I love her. She comes out with such natural common sense and is a very reassuring person, hugely intelligent. which I don't see from Meghan. I'm just not seeing, all I'm seeing is puff pieces and nonsense. Oh, thank God none over Christmas except this Sarah Ferguson one. And I felt I had to say a word of defence for Sarah. And also people on X who seem to think I'm having a go at Sarah. Quite the reverse. They clearly have never watched my channel, or they've never watched the videos that I've done defending Sarah. I even bought her book last year. Wasn't my cup of tea actually in the end. It was a bit Mills and Booney. I never got into it. But, I mean, she writes fictitious stories. Good for her. Why doesn't Meghan do that? Write some fictitious stories, my God. I rather think that's her speciality, actually. There you go. There you go. Meghan could write some fictitious stories. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. And let's continue in the spirit of free speech and allowing people to have differing opinions. But please, I mean, you can put in the comments, let the poor lady rest in peace. But I'm probably just, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in history and PR and narcissism and examining things. And when I'm told, no, you just don't talk about that. No, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me because it's not nice. Thank you very much for listening and look forward to seeing you in the comments below.